So we shall start with the peace chant. We shall do it together, okay? Om Bhadram Karnevih Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashe Maksha Virya Jatraha Sthirair Angais Tuštuvag Shastanuvih Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Shastina Indro Pritha Shavaha Shastina Pusha Vishvedaha Shasti Nastark Sho Arishta Nemihi Shasti No Brihaspatir Tadhatu Om Shantihi Shantihi Shantihi. So we are studying Mundaka Upanishad, and we are almost towards the end of the second part of the first chapter. So Mundaka Upanishad has got 3 chapters. Each chapter has got 2 sections. So we have studied the first section of the first chapter, and now almost towards the end of the second chapter. In the second section, the discussions were mostly about different Vedic rites and rituals, chiefly the fire ritual called Agnihotra. And it was first stated that Agnihotra rituals, if done correctly, they bring results. It was also mentioned that it has to be done to get the desired results. One has to perform the ritual perfectly, meticulously, with all its auxiliary rituals. Then it was stated that the highest that such rituals can give is a post-mortem. After death, one goes to heaven and enjoy pleasure for many, many years. But ultimately, that also get exhausted. One has to come back. So even the results of the rituals, even when done correctly, there is no permanent joy and satisfaction. One has to come back again. So many people ask the questions that why so much discussion about rituals and all their results, their problems? Because the Upanishad started with a question by a student that what is that reality knowing which everything else can be known? And the teacher said there are 2 types of knowledge, higher knowledge and lower knowledge. Higher knowledge is spiritual knowledge, that through which one gets to know the ultimate reality, which has been called here Purusha, otherwise called Brahman, the vast, the infinite. And there is a lower knowledge whose subject matter domain is everything else, everything else. So the question came up several times, why so much discussion about the rituals? Because the student did not want to know at all about the rituals and what entails them. So now we come on the 12th mantra, the real reason why so much discussion, so many mantras have been devoted in discussing rites and rituals and things related to them. The idea is, once a person has sincerely tried to follow the rituals, or tried to do the rituals correctly, and also have known about the results they can promise, the path, the path of going to heaven, and also those that are promised for those who live a mendicant's life, or a forest dweller's life, or a householder who are self-restrained and engage in study and contemplation. They also get a better result, in the sense that they also get liberated, but gradual liberation, krama mukti. Having heard all of these, having seen all of this, a person who is seeking the ultimate satisfaction, ultimate joy, they think, they analyze their experience, or they, with the help of their inference logic, or with the help of the scriptural knowledge, they come to the conclusion that none of these I am interested in. I am interested in knowing that which can satisfy me forever, which gives me the ultimate satisfaction or fulfillment. Before that, one had to go through all of these, performing all of these, or even knowing all of this. So this is the background, we may say. The 11 mantras were the backstory for the real teaching of this section, which is mantra number 12 of Mundaka Upanishad. Very important mantra, and it has been quoted in different places. Acharya Shankara, one of the commentators of Upanishad, he quotes this mantra in the commentary of other Upanishads, or in the commentary of Bhagavad Gita or Brahma Sutra. So this is a very important mantra. So let us try to understand this mantra. Here it is. So in short, this mantra is the path of the blessed aspirants who turn away from all relative results. They want the highest. The mantra is parīkṣya lokān karmacitān brāhmaṇo nirvedamāyān nāsti akṛtaḥ kṛtena tat vijñān-ārthaṃ sa gurum eva ābhigacchet samitpāṇiḥ śrotriyaṃ brahmaniṣṭham. A lot has been told in this mantra. The translation is, after examining all these results gained by works, let a seeker acquire freedom from desires. The eternal cannot be produced by the phenomenal. To understand the eternal, let them, with due respect, approach a guru who is well versed in the Vedas and centered on the eternal. This is what happens when one has got this passion. The Sanskrit word is vairagya, this passion. So let us try to understand the mantra well. This verse is about a spiritual aspirant who is dissatisfied with all the results that knower knowledge can give. By knower knowledge, it is included even the promise, such as the heaven, which was at that time a very sought after thing. Sought after thing even now for many, not maybe all of us, but some people, for some, this could be a very well sought after thing. So even they are not interested in that. The verse says brāhmaṇa. So brāhmaṇa, one may think the particular caste in India of the Hindus. No, it is not in that sense it has been used, but it has been used to mean someone who leads a life of dharma, a dharmic life, a virtuous life, and who has upright character, who is thoughtful, who is introspective, who seeks the highest truth, and who has undergone refinement, mental refinement, spiritual refinement, or intellectual refinement. Such a person is called brāhmaṇa. So what do? They do parīkṣya, having examined lokān, the worlds. Having examined the worlds. How do they examine the world? They analyze their own life experiences, that we have gone through all types of experiences. We have strived to get fulfillment through different means, relationships, and all of this. Then they analyze their life experiences. It is called anubhuti, direct experience. They also use their logical thinking that if so far what I have done, what I have strived, have not given me permanent satisfaction, can anything more of this same striving, doing the more things again and again in greater scale, do they promise higher satisfaction? That kind of logic they apply. One was experience. In their own experience, they have found about the world. And another is not direct experience, but using their own logic, that what we see in other people, are all of them happy? For example, I was reading today an essay on the Atlantic. So it was about Elon Musk, and the writer writes that most of the billionaires are very insecure. More richer a person, they become more and more vulnerable and insecure. They want validation from the society, and they seek meaning in their life through validation from the society, or trying to project themselves as saviors of the world. And the writer says that many billionaires, he even quoted Jeff Bezos and people like that. So those billionaires, even they have got so much, still they find a sense of insecurity. So that was the point, that logical thinking, if we think logically, that what all of our efforts can give. I have not done everything that is possible, but if I look around, I see even so-called successful people, are they fulfilled? have they got fulfillment? This kind of logic. They also consult the scriptures. Scriptures speak about such a state of people, such a mindset of a person, those who outwardly may not have achieved that kind of success, but internally they are fulfilled, a sense of serenity, peace. So with these three types of means of knowledge, that is our direct experience and applying our logic, and also reading about those type of people who have walked a different path for fulfillment. With these three types of tools, if we will, with these three tools or three means, they come to the understanding that wealth or pleasure or even the good life, so-called good life, even these three, that wealth, pleasure, reputation, recognition, even the good life, these are also defective. Defective in the sense, usually all of these have three types of defect in them. One is they are mixture of pleasure and pain. Nothing in this world comes as a pure pleasure. There is always a mixture of pleasure and pain. That we know very well. So to have something, we have to put a lot of effort, energy, time, and that is painful, of course. And when we get something that we are looking for, after that, also maintaining them is also a headache, of course. So just one example, they are mixed with pleasure and pain. Even recognition cannot be universal. One person can be recognized or praised in one circle, may be very much criticized in another circle. Then one person may be popular for some period of time. After that time, nobody really cares about that person anymore. So pleasure and pain mixed up. Even the highest heaven, that pleasure is not forever. One has to come back. And to even say, to reach the heaven, one has to do so much of rituals and perfectly with meticulous details, and years after years, then there is a chance that after dying, they might go to heaven. So mixture of pleasure and pain. Number two, they are unsatisfactory in the sense that they never give full satisfaction. So I am thinking now, that is the only one thing needed to fulfill, to get perfect life. After we get that, after some time, we get used to it. Then we find that we need something more to fulfill myself. So none of these are ultimately satisfactory. What we seek in the world through our effort and energy. That is another defect. So first defect was their mixture. There is a mixture of pain and pleasure. And second defect is they are unsatisfactory. Third is more subtle. That is, all of them are some sorts of bondage, dependence. It creates a dependence on things, on people, on certain type of lifestyle. So we are We are dependent on many things for even a joyous life or even so-called normal life even. We are dependent on so many things. So these are the defects. One, if one analyzes their life experience and also apply their logic and also pays heed to these scriptures or spiritual literature, they find that all these worldly gains, all these worldly endeavors, they are ultimately not fulfilling, not satisfactory. And that is called the lokān. The word lokān means literally the world. They have examined the world. But here in this verse, the lokān has even a wider connotation. The wider connotation is the results of work and results of all our deeds, results of all our endeavors. So parīkṣya lokān means one who has after examining, after analyzing the results that we can get in this world. The highest, even the highest called heaven that we can aspire for, even analyzing that, one comes to the conclusion that none of them are capable of giving me permanent joy and fulfillment. Shankaracharya writes a commentary on this verse, and the first sentence runs for 2 pages. That one sentence runs for 2 pages. And it's a beauty. When Shankaracharya writes long sentences, there is a beauty in that and a lot of insight in that. So Shankaracharya writes about this world, that is what we can get from the world. So he writes that by the word lokān means from the highest heaven to every possible mode of living, which are agitated by 100,000 troubles. And these results are fragile like the stem of a banana plant. Stem of banana plant, when we start peeling, ultimately the stem, the central part of the banana plant, is very fragile. So Shankaracharya compares that whatever we can get in this world, promise the world has, ultimately they becomes very meaningless, or what we call hollow like the stem of banana plant. And they are similar in kind to illusion. Illusion, he says, like magic. It appears something from outside, but when we probe deeper, it turns out to be different than what it is. All the lure, all the promise of the world, apparently very pleasant, but when probed further, we find that, like illusion, they appear one thing from outside, but when we really get it, they are not what they appear to be. Similar in kind to illusion. They are like the waters of the mirage. That is, in desert, because of this optical illusion, one can see mirage suddenly and water, and one can chase thinking that it is real water. But one can keep on chasing, may not find the water at all. So waters in mirage. Then the shape of cities formed by the clouds in the sky. When they are, especially during the spring, right? We see lot of cloud formations in the sky, and some of the clouds may appear to be to a child that a city, shape of a city, one can imagine anything on them. But ultimately they are not. Ultimately they are not. So he compares it like a city in the sky, formed by the cloud. What he is comparing? Comparing with our worldly achievements, our worldly goals, which we strive for. That is wealth, pleasure, fame, or even so-called good life. So-called good life. All of them are like mirage, like an illusion from that ultimate stone. They are like dreams. They are like water bubbles and foam. Water bubbles which are forming and disappearing. Like foam. A foam looks very large, It appears to be having lot of material in it. And that's why when I go to Starbucks to order my mocha, I always say no whip, no foam, because the foam takes up a lot of space. I really miss out on the mocha, the coffee. So like foam, it appears so large. Indeed, it is so. When we don't have something, that thing assumes such a great importance in our life. We think that one thing will add so much value to our life. But it is not like that. Similarly, like fame, one might think how nice it would be to have 1 million followers in Instagram. But once they have got it, they feel like it is hollow. Hollow, it appearing to be 1 million, but actually I am not friend to anyone. None of them are real friends to me. So it appears like a foam, taking a huge space, but hardly any material in that. Shankaracharya compares that with foam, with bubble and water bubble and foam. And not only that, and destroyed every moment. Destroyed every moment. That is, our hopes, our joys, our aspirations rise and fall moment to moment. Yes, it is a bit too much on the side of pessimistic, but in a way it is true also. In a way it is true also. Swami Vivekananda said that we try to cover our blisters with rose so that it is not seen outside. So we have many problems, many sorrows, many troubles in the world, but we try to kind of ignore them and be happy with whatever is available. But from a perspective of Shankaracharya or Buddha, the whole of this, all of this endeavor is ultimately not so promising, not so fulfilling. So more like a foam than substance. So Shankaracharya, part of that long sentence, I just would like to share a little bit of it. Part of that long sentence, this is what he used, the definition of lokān. Samsara goti bhutan abhyaktadi sthavarantan abhyakrita lakshanat bija ankuravat itara utpatti nimittan anekartha shata sahasra shankulan kadali garbhavat asara, mayamayi, maya marichi, udaka, gandharva nagara, ka sapna, jala budbuda, pheno, saman, patikshana, padhamsan, prishtataha, kritva, avidya, kama, dosha, pravartita, karmacitān, dharma, adharma, nirvedamāyān iti etat. So this is the definition of loka. What I said, that like a hollow stem of a banana tree, like foam and water bubble, like a illusion, like water in mirage, which is with hundreds and thousands of travels, and which is rising every moment and destroying also every moment. So one who has deeply thought about that, such a person is called brahmana. One who has got that kind of mindset, one who has seen all of this, has thought about all of this, and examined, analyzed with the help of their own experience, their logic, as well as with the scriptures, the Upanishads. Such a person, brahmana, parīkṣya, lokān. They have examined all of this. And all of this is what? All of these are the mode of living is the product of good works or bad works. Whether good deeds or bad deeds, whether we are enjoying or suffering, all are created by actions. Avidya, kama, and karma. This is the cycle. Since we feel we don't understand that we are already fulfilled, so we think that we need something to fulfill ourselves. That prompts us for sakama karma, work with desire. Work with desire. We not only to maintain ourselves, but to get more and more. That is what propels us for more and more work, which brings more and more pleasure as well as more and more pain. Karmacitān. All of these are fruits of our endeavor, of our karma. That is how the person feels. Such a person, what happens when they have analyzed in such a way? Nirvedamāyān. Nirvedam means dispassion, detachment. Ayat. They come to a position of detachment. That is, I do not want any of this. None of these really attract me. Such is the state of mind of that person. Nirvedamāyān. They become dispassionate. They no longer find any pull towards wealth, pleasure, or even ritualistic actions. Even the meritorious acts like fire rituals are rife with so much troubles, and the results are also unsatisfactory, also transitory. So they become extremely dispassionate about all of this. Just like Buddha, that after seeing only 3 sights, he analyzed, what he saw, and then he analyzed, probed deeper with logic, and also the sight of another all-renouncing monk. He compared all of this and came to the conclusion that I want none of this. This is a state of mind which is hard to intuit, unless we really get such state of mind when nothing really matters, nothing really attracts. time to time we feel when we are very much annoyed by things around us, we feel, so much problem. But that remain only for a short time. But here, the Upanishad is speaking about someone who has got that state of mind. It's like a permanent state of mind. They have already reached that state of mind, nirvedamāyān, who is not interested in any of these things, nirvedamāyān. And what they think at that time, nāsti, akṛtaḥ, kṛtena. Akṛtaḥ means something which is not product of work. Akṛtaḥ. Akṛtaḥ means something which cannot be produced by work, which is not a result of work. Okay. Akṛtena, nāsti, akṛtaḥ, kṛtena. So the idea is, what I am seeking is the eternal thing. And nothing in this world, whatever things, whatever work can produce, none of them are eternal. So eternal cannot be a product of work. If we look around, that whatever we do or strive, actions we do, can only bring four types of results. One is utpadya. Utpadya means it can create something. So I had a piece, some wooden log. With that, I made a table. Okay. Creation. I created something. That is all types of creation that can be done with work. Another is prāpya. That is, I can go somewhere. I can get something. Okay. For example, San Francisco is already there. I have to reach San Francisco. Okay. I reach there through action. I drive my car. San Francisco I am not creating. I am not producing San Francisco. It is already there. I am reaching there. Okay. Or suppose there is a fruit in the tree in my orchard and I have not created the fruit. I just go and get it. Okay. To get it. That is another thing that any action can give. Another is samskarya. So it can purify something. For example, I got iron ore, but then it is not usable. I do some work on it and purify the iron ore, it becomes iron which can be used. Or water I am getting which is not pure, I cannot drink the water, I am purifying the water. Okay, making something better. That is another thing, purpose of work. And finally, vikarya. That is, I can modify something. That is, I can pour some live culture in the milk, it will turn to curd or yogurt. So this is the Vedanta's definition of the four results of work. Utpadya, apya, samskarya, vikarya. Four type of things. Any work result will fall under these four categories. But the ultimate reality, the Purusha or the Brahman or divine, the self or nirvana, in whatever name we call it, it is neither something to be produced. It is neither something to be reached. It is already there. Okay. It is not there that I go and reach and I reach there. It is neither something that has to be purified. It is already purified. It is the purity itself. It is neither something that has to be modified. It is in its own pristine, pure form. Already it is there. So what I am seeking, the Brahmana, the seeker is thinking, the ultimate that I am seeking is not result of any motivated work, any motivated work. Even the rituals are all work, motivated work. They are creating a space for me in heaven. Through these rituals, what I am trying to do is I am trying to book a seat for myself, a spot for myself in heaven. But none of them will satisfy me. What I am seeking cannot be achieved by any kind of this type of actions, this type of rituals which is the domain of lower knowledge. So the person, after analyzing their life experience, seeing the life experience of others, and with the help of scriptures, they become dispassionate towards all the things that our worldly existence, empirical existence can offer. And they think all of these are the product of actions. And I want something which is beyond all of this, which is not dependent on doing, which is dependent on realizing, which only can be done with the help of someone who has lived the life, someone who can show me the life. So that is why what they do with such a dispassionate mind, with such spiritual hunger, the aspirant seeks to know the ultimate reality, which can give permanent satisfaction. In one of the text primer called Vedanta Sara, which is a good primer for Prakarana Grantha in Vedanta, there it says that such a person who has done everything, read entire Vedas and done all the rituals, then got dissatisfaction, dispassionate. Such a person, as it were fire on their head, they run towards, as a person whose head is on fire, as such a person runs towards water. Similarly, such a person who has become dissatisfied, dispassionate with all that the world can offer, but they do not want any of these, want the highest, the spiritual reality, such a person then run towards a teacher. As a person whose head is on fire run towards water, similarly, such a person desperately seeks that ultimate knowledge. And indeed, as long as it is a fact we have to reckon with, that as long as we are happy with everything in this world, then so long that sincere desire, sincere yearning for spiritual development or spiritual reality will not be there, If we look at the life of all those people who have succeeded in their spiritual life, spiritual masters, all of them wholeheartedly believed that there is no mixture, that do this also, do that also. They, at least for some time, left everything and dedicated their entire life in their spiritual quest. So such is the state of mind. With such a state of mind, such a person should approach a qualified teacher. tat vijñān-ārthaṃ sa gurum eva ābhigacchet. So, to vijñān-ārthaṃ, to know that ultimate reality, that person approach a teacher. Approach a teacher. Here is a subtle, interesting thing. Here is one word called eva. Eva means indeed. Such a person should indeed approach a teacher. And Shankaracharya points out that the word eva is very meaningful. Eva means here must. Shankaracharya says that, which has become kind of a proverb in Vedanta, shastragyopi satantreno brahma-gyano anneshvanam na kuryat. Even a person who is well versed in scripture, very well versed, a scholar, they also should not approach that ultimate reality independently. They need a help of a teacher. Why is it so? It is in this context, we have to remember, in the paradigm of the Upanishad, in the paradigm of Vedanta tradition. And one can, of course, challenge it. One can say that there are many examples where people independently, without anyone's help, they had their spiritual quest and also achieved their spiritual goal or reached, advanced spiritually. So it can be challenged, of course. But one thing we have to remember is that those examples are very rare. They are more like exceptions than the rule, who independently had a spiritual practice and also succeeded. These are quite exceptions, but mostly it is always under the guidance of someone or guidance of some tradition. So under this paradigm of the Upanishad or paradigm of the Vedanta, it is said that what we are seeking, the ultimate reality, it is not somewhere outside. So none of our instruments can help us. None of the instruments can help us. It is within. It is the subject. Okay. So it is like if I want to see table, chair, and all the books, I can see. But if I want to see my own face, I need a mirror. Then only I can see my face. And similarly, that ultimate reality, that which will fulfill our every desire, give us absolute fulfillment, satisfaction, is not somewhere outside. It is inside. We need a mirror. We need a mirror to know who we are. And what is the mirror? They say that Shastra Darpana eva. The Upanishads are like the mirror. Upanishad is the only place where we find discussions on our true nature, our reality, ultimate reality, which can give us fulfillment. No other books, no other study course, no other materials talk about that reality. Upanishad is the only source which speaks about that Purusha, that ultimate reality. We need the mirror called Upanishad. But there's a problem with this mirror called Upanishad. That is, we need to know how to hold the mirror properly. If I take a mirror and I don't know how to hold, so maybe I am getting a faulty picture, faulty impression of my face. So by a person who teaches me how to hold the Upanishad properly is called Guru. person who will teach me how to hold the mirror properly is called guru. So Upanishad is the teacher, Upanishad is the mirror, Upanishad is the source to know our reality, that ultimate reality. But we need a guide who will teach us how to hold the mirror. Because Upanishad was not a written course. So there is a lot of things to be unpacked. Sometimes there may be many things which are confusing that we see very often. Apparently, the meaning is something, but when we unpack it, the meaning appears to be totally different. Then, if we want to try to read something on our own, a book like Upanishad, there may be faulty understanding, which is even worse than not understanding at all. Faulty understanding, wrong understanding, incomplete understanding, which are like, can be compared like dust on the mirror. Dust on the mirror. I can still see my face, but not clearly. Not clearly. I have lot of doubts in my mind about what the Upanishad is teaching, and I am living always with these doubts. So one who holds me how to hold that mirror correctly, and one who also cleans the mirror, remove the dust from the mirror is a guru. To such a person, one should approach. This is Upanishad is telling, the teacher is telling. Shastra Darpanit. There is an exception, and then what are the qualification of an ideal teacher? In this verse, it is also been told that when such a person who has analyzed their own life experience and is dissatisfied and has become detached, has come to the understanding that I have seen through what works, what individual efforts can give me, such a person should now go to a teacher. Tad vijñān-ārthaṃ gurum eva ābhigacchet. And what is that qualification of that guru? What are the qualities of that guru? Śrotriyaṃ and brahmaniṣṭham. Śrotriyaṃ has two meanings. Śrotriyaṃ, one meaning is one who is well versed in the Upanishads. Well versed in the Upanishad. They need not be a scholar in Upanishad. They need not be, but they should understand the essence of the Upanishad. What is the essential part of the Upanishad and what is the non-essential? They have clear understanding of the teachings of the Upanishads and also conviction about the teaching. Another meaning of Śrotriyaṃ is that person not only should be well versed in the Upanishad, but they should be able to communicate well. Communicate well. A person may be, we see very well, often that a person may be very knowledgeable, but cannot communicate it well to all levels of aspirants. They can communicate only maybe one type of aspirants, those who are already probably advanced or intermediate type of. So a guru, a good teacher, is not only should be well versed in the Upanishad and has understood the essence of the Upanishad, has conviction of the Upanishad, but they should be able to communicate the teaching well to the student's level. And this communication does not mean that the teacher has to be very eloquent or a good orator. Not necessarily. Because this communication can happen in different ways. This communication can happen in different ways. Sometimes, even through silence, a teacher can communicate a lot than giving a lecture. Okay. So a teacher might adopt different means to communicate the knowledge. One example comes to my mind is Sri Ramakrishna, how he taught his disciples. How he taught his disciples, not through lectures or hours of discourses, but through practical examples or observing them very closely, correcting their apparently innocent mistakes. But Sri Ramakrishna could see that these apparent small defects has great implication in spiritual life. He could correct them at the right moment, even apparently small things. Whereas apparently big things, he did not use to say many things. He did not use to say much because he understood this is not a problem for spiritual life, but this might be a problem for spiritual life. So sometimes through love, sheer love, he could communicate. Sometimes through chastising them, he could communicate. Sometimes through different examples, he could communicate. Sometimes without giving the answer directly, he used to wait for right time to come when the student will themselves understand the answer to their question. Different ways of communicating. So this is one quality, śrotriyaṃ, that is, they are well versed, they have understood the essence of the scripture, they can communicate to the student at the level they are. And this communication could be differently, verbal, non-verbal, through practical examples, through love, and through different means, they can communicate that knowledge. Second is brahmaniṣṭham. This quality is what distinguishes a scholar and a true teacher. Brahmaniṣṭham means that they have not only understood the Upanishads, they are not only eloquent about Upanishad, but they live the Upanishad. They are centered in that truth. They are day to day, moment to moment, they are living on that truth. Otherwise, intellectually, one can go only that far, unless one has experience, anubhuti in their own life about that ultimate reality, which is, unless one has experienced it, it is still a theory only, a grand theory, we may say, on Brahman, one ultimate reality, which is the source of all. May sound so well, but ultimately it is a theory. It is a hypothesis. Unless we get a glimpse of it, a taste of it, until then there will be doubts, and we may be eloquent about Upanishad, but our life may not be centered according to the teachings of the Upanishad. Brahmaniṣṭham, one who lives the truth. That is, such are the two essential qualities of the guru. Someplace else also we find abhijñāh, akṛtaḥ. That is, a teacher should not teach in the desire of getting something in return. The teacher should have only one consideration, the good of the student. They don't want anything in return. Okay. Akamahata, they don't want anything. And abhijñāh, that is a spotless life. A spotless life. They are living a pure life, a honest life, a dharmic life also. These are from other Upanishads I am quoting, all of them go to make an ideal teacher. And the question is, how to get such a teacher? Everybody would love to. Indeed, it is rare. Such a teacher is indeed rare because really not too many people strive for spiritual life. Even if so many people strive for, there are only a few handful who reach the goal. And even among those who have reached the goal, not many may be willing to teach. They may be happy in their own corner. Okay. And they would not even advertise about their achievements. There's nothing to achieve. Incidentally, just at a sidebar, I am talking about this book, Altered Traits. So Richard Davidson wanted to bring the yogis and lamas from Nepal, Tibet, and India to his neuroscience lab to study their brain pattern. But none of them were willing. None of them were willing because, first of all, they were very happy in their hut, their cottage. And what is the point in knowing how my brain has changed? Okay. So Richard and Daniel Goleman, they comment that these people were at the top of their game. That is, most of them have spent 8 hours or 9 hours daily in meditation and for decades, and they are top of their game. If we compare with other people like star athletes who are also top of their game, the difference is this, that the star athletes want to be known, want to be recognized. They don't turn away from the world. But here, some people who are top of their game, but they have no interest in being known, being investigated about their brain state, about their accomplishment. So only thing that helped is Dalai Lama helped them. Dalai Lama told them, don't tell that it will help you. Tell them that this study will benefit many people. Many other people will be benefited from their study. Then only they agreed to come. It will be for the welfare of others. Then only these yogis, these lamas, these practitioners agreed to come. So returning to our point that it is difficult to get such teachers. But in the absence of such teachers, what we can do is also those who are trying to live the life, towards those who have walked the path for longer time, are more experienced, they can also help us. Not like this ideal teacher, but they can also help us because they have also got some conviction about these teachings through their dedicated life or their own little experiences. They can be also a good guide, not the best of the guide, not the best coach one can aspire for, but maybe a good enough coach who later on, when in the course of time, when their role will be over, will get even a better coach. Actually, that happens. It is a mystery of spiritual life that we get one after another coach. Okay, someone comes to our life and fulfill certain role, give us some impetus, motivation, inspiration, and we travel some distance, and mysteriously we find another coach, another guide who take us from there higher up. And again, we get someone else to guide us. It happens if we are open and if we are sincere. it happens. I know from my own life, and it is also corroborated by other seekers that it happens. So the point is, even if we don't get such a teacher who is śrotriyaṃ, well versed in scripture, very good at communicating, and also centered in Brahman, living moment to moment in that highest reality, still there is hope that some people who are already in the path and have some conviction can help us, guide us. And how should that student approach the teacher? The mantra says, samitpāṇiḥ, with firewood in their hands, such a brahmana should approach. So firewood is a symbolic here. So in that time, at that time, the teachers used to live in a ashrama-like atmosphere, and many students used to live under him. So the students used to get spiritual knowledge, and they used to serve the teacher in maintaining the ashrama. So one symbolic way of going to the teacher with firewood, because fire will be needed for many activities, even for cooking. So if one goes with firewood, or firewood which will be used in, say, just daily fire ritual not for heaven, but fire ritual for spiritual improvement with spiritual goal, like our homa that we do for the benefit, spiritual welfare of all. So student goes to with the teacher with firewood. It is a symbolic of humility, that I am open. I am open to learn from you. Kindly teach me. So this is what the mantra says, that one who has experienced or read through the promises of the world, promises of the rituals, and are not interested or dissatisfied with their limited results, such a person becomes dispassionate and goes to a teacher who is well versed in the Upanishad and also living the truth, so that that person can instruct this person about that ultimate reality. And the next verse, which is the last verse of this section, is what such a teacher does when a person approach like this way with such state of mind, what the teacher does. That we shall see in our next class. If you have any question, please ask me. Yeah, you can unmute and ask if you have any question. It appears everybody's state of mind is like nirvedamāyān. Everybody is with a high state of mind. Nobody wants to ask any question. Yeah, good. All right. That means this verse is clear, right? There is no further clarification needed about this verse, which is good. All right, so we shall close with Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And I wish all of you a happy Memorial Day weekend, long weekend. Okay, see you next week.
Thank you, Shamiji.
Thank you. Om Shanti, Shanti. Shantihi.